Everybody, put your hands up. God, I love that opening song. That fucking opening song is amazing, man. I've had to listen to it a couple, or probably 100 times. Not a couple, 100 times or more. Because that freaking opening song is the shit. It is the shit. I'm sorry, it's so misleading, but it's the shit. It really is. So, anyways, let's talk about this episode of Death Parade, episode 2. So, this episode of Death Parade gives us a lot of information. I mean, quite a bit of information, and more mysteries put on top of what we are already questioning. So, let's dive into these details, this info dump, and let's really look at it. So, before I go further, I actually want to do a compliment to a couple of Chibits in the comments last week. You all stated that most likely this series is following Hinduism. Most likely, hopefully I said the name right. Most likely this series' religion is following Hinduism because of the way the actual symbol in the, opening song, you see the old man, he has a bunch of hands behind him. That is, Hinduism. And the way the actual symbols are above the elevators, that also represents, Buddha and stuff like that. So, I could be wrong. I could be saying it wrong, but, I mean, I'm just letting you know right now. That's what a couple of Chibits pointed out. So, yeah. I was like, oh damn, there's some interesting information in the comments last week. So, moving past that, let's talk about the information. So, with this episode of Death Parade, a couple things really shocked me. And it pretty much answers a lot of those ongoing questions that I saw last week with a bunch of Chibits. For instance, last week I saw a couple of Chibits stating that there seems to be something wrong here. Like, the entire ordeal with the woman, the wife, pretty much, the way she stated that she did cheat on her husband and it wasn't his child, I saw a couple, not a lot, but quite a few Chibits state that it felt like there was something off there, like something was really off or she was lying or something was wrong. Well, with this episode, we actually find out that she technically was lying and not lying at the exact same time. For instance, she did cheat on her husband, but it wasn't an ongoing thing. It was not an ongoing thing for months to weeks at that. It was a one-time thing. With that face she made, she was very sorry. She had a lot of pity and she was sad for what she did to her husband, and the child that was actually inside of her was her husband's. And so, at the final moments in the game, the last episode, she actually lied to Dakeem and says, yes, I cheated, it's not your child. She did that out of compassion and love for her husband, and at the exact same time, her child. For instance, if the husband did not know that it was actually his child, he could actually move past her. And so she technically set up the entire ordeal at the end because she knew she was going to be split up from her husband, judging by what was going on. For instance, she knew that they were both taking separate paths. One's probably going to heaven, one's probably going to hell. And so in her act to have a lasting final word to her husband, she made it seem like she was the one at fault because she loved her husband so much. She loved him so deeply. And that right there is very sad when you start thinking about the essence of the game. The actual wife sacrificed herself to the void for her husband. But the husband doesn't realize that. He did not realize that. So let's actually dive in and talk about these different details. So, with the last episode, we found out that the different symbols, like the Buddha-looking symbol and the demon symbol, the Buddha symbol represents reincarnation. And the, demon-looking symbol, that represents the void. And there was a lot of theories and speculations about what the void was. Now, we all know what reincarnation is. We do. But we actually got more details on the reincarnation, and we have more details on the void. The void is exactly what I kind of figured it was. I mean, I didn't think it was necessarily hell, because if there was a heaven or hell, it would have been said like heaven or hell. But reincarnation and void was just two entirely different things. When I think of void, I think of like an abyss of darkness that has nothing in it, nothing inside of it. And that was pretty much what we found out. For instance, the void is a pit of darkness. Your soul goes in it and you're lost forever. And the reincarnation is where your soul goes into another body. And so you can be reborn again. And actually, you get reborn into another human. You'll get reborn into like a caterpillar, bird, stuff like that. The reincarnation that's in this series is reincarnation of another human being. So, they got some clarification on both sides. How does the judging really work? That's what we find out with this episode. And that is one thing that is kind of, I guess, intriguing about the series. Because Dakeem, we find out that these arbiters are sent to actually judge you know, the people that are sitting there, for instance, the husband and wife. We kind of already knew that. They were sitting there to judge, like, you know, the arbiters are judging them. But the thing is I thought it was deeper. I thought, like, the actions of what they did in their past lives might actually cause it to where they could either go to the void or be reincarnated. But no. In fact, it is not. The way the people actually get judged is their actions they do in the bar. For instance, in the actions that they take when they're playing this game with whoever they died with and they're fighting against, that is when they get judged. Like, okay, all the memories, let's say I was a very crooked and evil person. I went out and killed hundreds and thousands of people, and I died. And then you had this other person that was an innocent soul and only committed a couple of deeds, from what I understood. This person committed, like, a couple of evil deeds, killed, like, one person, but I was a cold-hearted murderer, okay? Let's say I was on the opposite side of a war front, and I was killing people. And we go into this bar, and you have these two people come in. Obviously, from our perspective, who would get judged is the person that murdered thousands of innocent people. And the one that should probably go up to heaven is most likely the person that maybe have killed one or two. And let's think about this another segment, okay? With this episode, it's pretty much stated that you're not really judged from your past actions, like your memories. Like, the arbiters can't judge you from the memories alone, but they judge you by your actions you take in this game. Like, if your soul is dark, it's going to creep out with darkness. And it's the arbiter's job, these bartenders, to actually key in on this and figure out who is lying, their actions, what they're truly trying to do, and see who is worthy enough to be reincarnated and who's going to the void. And so to find this out, I was like, oh shit, so the bartenders actually can make a mistake. They actually can. Dakeem can make mistakes, and it was proven with this episode. For instance, him judging the wife to go to the void. And even though both sides are wrong, there was also some other things at the end of the episode that leaves more mystery on top of who got judged, like the husband or the wife, which I will get into in just a little bit. But Dakeem, or with this episode, it's found out that Dakeem and other arbiters or bartenders, they can actually be wrong. They can judge the wrong person. And so this is where they come in and they actually have to use these skills and memories they have, and they also have to key in on, like, the compassion of love of humans and stuff like that. And so that was really interesting, finding out how technically someone could be judged wrongly. And with this too, on top of that, I felt it really cool how they actually hinted at some of the aspects in this episode. Like, for instance, all the memories that, let's say, the couple had, okay? They were all compiled inside of Dakeem's head. Like, he got all those memories that happened, so he knew what was going on. And every time you saw his eye get zoomed in on in the episodes, which is done quite a bit through the course of Death Parade Episode 1 and Death Billiards, when his eye got zoomed in on, it was actually him going back and looking at the memories that the couples had, or the person that he's currently judging had. And with this is where he goes on the line to figure out if they're lying or not, or what actions are they really trying to take. Are they truly doing an evil deed, or are they doing it out of the compassion of their heart? And so when you saw Dakeem actually shocked in the last episode, he was shocked because of the memories he had. Like, the memories he had, he only showed, like, a one-time thing. Like, one time sleeping with, you know, the dude. And he was quite shocked about the wife, the way she chose it, but he thought she was a crooked soul, the way she acted. And it was actually different with the husband. The husband actually acted like he was very compassionate. So I like that. I like both sides of that. Really cool. So, moving past that, let's actually talk about the ending dialogue more in depth with this couple. So, that girl, I think her name is Nona, the girl that's in the opening song, like, put your hands up. Oh, fucking A, I love that song. But anyways, that little girl, we find out that she is a very, very smart character, and there's a lot of mystery behind her. Like, she is in heaven. Like, the elevator, when it went down, that looked like it was heaven. It really did. I'm not gonna lie here. That looked like heaven. The way the ruins were and the house in the middle all by itself, that looked like fucking heaven. And are they hinting? Are they hinting that that girl might be either an angel or a god? That's what I'm thinking with the way that was shown at the end of the episode, which is quite possible. But moving past that, I want to get back onto the couple. That girl states something very interesting, and it actually dives into human nature, and I was quite taken aback when I saw how human nature's, like, instincts or how people act, how it was dived into in this episode, to show you how rotten humanity really is. Like, for instance, the new girl with the black hair that's becoming an assistant, she states that technically the couple would have been happy if, you know, those two people that were talking about, you know, the wife never spoke up and said what they said. The couple would have been happy, nothing would have happened, they wouldn't have died like they did. But then you have some of the dialogue at the end of the episode where the girl mentions, like, no, she has a lot of work to do, because even though the couple, like, the two friends or whatever said that about the couple, the dude, the main character from last episode, the husband, he would have still have been unhappy, and the wife would have been unhappy, because he's not a very trustworthy person. Like, he doesn't trust things. Like, he's easy to judge. And, like, how he easily, like, mistrusted his wife. That would have led to something else later on down the road, for instance, him not trusting his wife for another reason. And so this plays into the essence of actual human beings and how dark we really can be. And to see that actually played with in this episode, I was like, oh shit. So, episode of Death Parade, very deep, and like, I could go on, but I want to make this at a good, decent length. It was a damn good episode, a lot of meaning behind it, a lot of mysteries, and just so much going on here. I just cannot wait to see the path that Death Parade is going to take. And once again, one question I still want answered: is it possible two people can be reincarnated at once? Is it possible both people can be turned into the void? I mean, that still has yet to be answered at all. And then you have these other questions of, you know, technically, what is the assistant girl? I mean, from the ending song, it's assumed that she might be a puppet or a mannequin, because you see a mannequin at the ending song, or like the last scene of the ending song where it's broken in half, and the eye looks very similar to the main female character assistant in this episode. And so it makes me assume that this assistant girl might be a mannequin, or a puppet, or a dummy, something like that. Or it could be people that are casted into the void, too. That'd be pretty fucked up. I mean, imagine that. Anyways, that's it. That's all I have to say for now. Oh, wait, actually, no, I do want to say one thing. Dakeem, you got a sick fucking twisted hobby. Playing with mannequins. The fuck, bro? Like, what the fuck? Okay, that's it. I'm leaving it on that note. So you all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe, and I'm going to go watch Assassination Classroom. Chibi out.